Rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It's great to be here with our Muslim brothers. There's so much to talk. There's so little time to speak. So I'll try to bring out some principles. In the last 76 years, the Palestinian people have been subjected to ethnic cleansing in Palestine, one of the most well-organized ethnic cleansing in the world that have been people that host the Jews, people that were very, very admired for their Muslim hospitality, that shared their bread and water with Jews, helped the Jews when Jews been deported and expelled from many countries in Europe. We say we found safe haven in Palestine. The Muslim Palestinians are accepted us, shared their bread with us, and till they didn't have any problem with Jews. They loved to make deals with us, businesses. We used to babysit their children. I myself am a Palestinian-born Jew, but my parents are coming from Iraq. Iraq is sharing an amazing mutual coexistence between Muslims and Jews, which shows how beautiful was the history between Muslim and Jews. Yet, Muslims been subjected all over the world to the demonization procedure. They've been portrayed as monsters, vicious, and terrorists, which the history of the Muslims with the Jews are completely the opposite. I'll try to bring very quickly. At the beginning of the Caliphate, Al-Khalif Abu Bakr, Al-Khalif Omar al-Ali bin Khattab, Ali bin Abu Talib, Al-Khalif Uthman, they were so friendly and respectful for the Jewish religion. We, the Jews, paid fairly the jizya, the Muslim tax that been put on non-Muslim inhabitants which lived underneath the Jewish jurisdiction and wings of Islam. We've been well protected under a fatwa of all the caliphats. Khalif Omar ibn Khattab have protected us amazingly. And that shared history of respect, mutual love, brotherhood, and coexistence has continued in Iraq for many, many hundreds of years. Even though at the beginning of the era of Zionism, when the Palestinians saw that the Zionism here, unlike the Jewish immigrations to Palestine, that had a religious purpose, just to come to enjoy from the holy land Palestine. The Palestinians knew that the Jews that come into Palestine just seeking to enjoy the holiness of the land, but nothing more than that. That's why they tolerated us, also in Iraq and all the Arab countries, for many years, up to even to the Second World War, when it was already clear for the Palestinians that Jews and Zionism are two different things. Zionism is a colonial power that came to oust the Palestinians from Palestine, dividing the Muslim nation in the world, in the Middle East, and creating problems between the Muslim, weakening the Muslim nation. And that's one of the main purposes of the Zionist colonialism. Unfortunately, there's a lot of Western powers helped this Zionism, and they conducted one of the most biggest atrocities that continues till now. Ethnic cleansing still happened only 76 years ago. Ethnic cleansing continues in 67 when they deported 200,000 Palestinians from the West Bank to Jordan. And it continues till now. If not the big noise that goes on in the world because of the social media, they would have for sure kicked out 2.4 million Palestinians from Gaza to Sinai. Even they had a plan to build them an artificial island in the middle of the Mediterranean Sea. The bombs of the Zionists are killing usually almost 100 Palestinians a day. And what the bombs are not killing, they'd like to finish it off with starvation. Killing the doctors, destroying the medical centers and 15 hospitals that not anymore in service. We're facing a genocide for the Palestinians, this great Palestinian nation that keeping alive the legacy from Al-Khalif Nasser Yusuf Salah ad-Din al-Ayyubi. When he released Palestine from the Salibiyin, from the Crusaders, Al-Maimonides, the Jewish rabbi, one of the biggest rabbis in the history, he was his advisor and the personal doctor. He right away gave a decree, a fatwa that Jews are allowed to come back to Palestine, Jews are allowed to build their synagogues. unlike with the Crusaders that burned us alive at the time that they conquered Jerusalem for the Muslims. Albania, small land in Bosnia in the Second World War, have saved 7,000 Jews. None of them were killed by the Nazis, even though the Nazis controlled 3 years Albania. The Muslims hidden them in mosques and in their basements, sharing with them bread, vegetables, and fruits. And yet, the Muslims have been subject to a demonization procedure in order to justify the genocide and ethnic cleansing in Palestine. Zionists are looking for non-Jews that saved Jews in the Second World War. But there's tens of thousands of Muslims that have saved Jews in Albania, Morocco, and yes, in Iraq. I'll tell you my story. I'm a Muslim miracle. Yes, how? My family, my mother, used to live in a Muslim house, simply in the second floor. I have to finish and I'm going to say it another 2 minutes. My parents lived in a second floor. And the first floor was a landlord, a Muslim, a Shiite Muslim. They used to come to take my family to Najaf and Karbala, the holy sites for the Shiite Muslims in Iraq. So there was the Fahud, a small group of elements of pro-Nazi Arab soldiers wanted to conduct a massacre in Baghdad. They came to the house of my mother's parents, and wanted to kill them. The landlord of the house stood with a sword and saved us. He said, "These are my children." Do you know how many Jews were saved in Baghdad? Tens of thousands. And yet, Muslims have been demonized. We have to show the whole world, anti-Zionism is not anti-Semitism. Anti-occupation, anti-genocide, supplying food, medicines, and clean water for the inhabitants of Gaza, it's not anti-Semitism. The Muslims love Jews, and we hope that to bring an end and dismantling from this Zionist vicious state and to the establishment of a Palestinian state from the river to the sea, that will fairly to treat Jews, Muslims, and Christians. Inshallah, in the Mustaqbal al-Qarib, in the no close future. Thank you very much for listening to me, beautiful Muslims. Thank you.